What is going on, guys? It's Jake. We're back in for another YouTube video. As you can see, we have the car apart a little bit more than we did the last video. In the last couple videos, we deleted the AC and also the ABS system. And this video, we're going to be wire tucking. So I've already done a lot of it, but I did time lapse all of it, so I can show you guys that. But this side, you can see right here, and we have the side skirts off and the smooth side panels. I can't show you too far down that end of the car because we do have the new wheel set up on it, but you guys are gonna have to wait and see that in a new video. So yeah, we have this all tucked in here. Typically this goes through this hole right here, but we kind of wire tied it up in the ABS plug right there. Wire tied all that and taped it real nice so that way it's not in the way. And these are our headlight wires. But before I show you any of the other side, I'm gonna drop you into the time lapses that we filmed yesterday, getting this other side done. So I wanted to give you a little update on the wiring tuck. So right here you can see all of the factory harnesses right here. Looks like a big rat's nest, but I promise you it'll look better here in a little while. I'm about to start actually cleaning up because I have removed all of the stuff I'm basically not using. So these right here were for the washer sprayer, the windshield washer sprayer, so those won't be used. The hose that actually brought the stuff forward isn't going to be used, so I cut that off back there. These right here are for the ABS. They came right into the fuse box, so we de-pin those. We're going to pull them through, tape those so they don't ever touch. And yeah, we've got rid of a couple other plugs. I de-pinned the factory AC plug because we won't be using that, so I pulled most of the wires back, so we're going to wire tie those up whenever we get straight. And yeah, what other ones? We have the ABS one right here, which I haven't yet figured out what I'm gonna do with it. It was for an ABS sensor that went into this hub, but yeah, I didn't mess with that one yet because it's kind of down in the harness a little bit. So I'm gonna first fix this rat's nest looking piece right here, tie it up real nice and get all the stuff where I need to. But just to give you guys a quick look, it's gonna be kind of like this. There's only gonna be these wires coming out of the bottom of the fuse box, so it's gonna clean it up a lot. It's definitely a better option in my opinion than doing the entire wiring tuck and having the main wires come out the firewall and go back in the firewall, just because it's a lot of work to try to get all this stuff back behind the dash. I mean, basically you'd have to take apart the entire dash, like pull the dash out of the car, and I just don't really want to do that. So we're gonna do it this way. I've basically deleted everything I'm not gonna be using here and pulled it all back into the fender well area so you won't see it. And I've remained all the stuff that I will be using. So these two right here are for the alternator, and these two are the main engine. And I'm actually gonna hide the main hot, which is this one right here. It's gonna go back and it's gonna come through this little hole right here and just go directly to the starter to grab its hot from the battery that is relocated in the rear that also hooks up to the starter. So that's going to be really nice and clean. It's going to come through that grommet, you won't even see it, and it's going to decrease the amount of wires coming out of the fuse box here. So yeah, super stoked on how it's coming out, but now it's time to start cleaning up. So I'll put you guys on another little time lapse and hopefully we can get this done and put everything in wire looms and get it looking real nice. So yeah, stay tuned. All right guys, so we're kind of finishing up. We're kind of on the home stretch here for the finish of the engine wiring tuck. Now you can see these are the main engine harnesses right here. This is the harness that comes out to go to the alternator, and I actually have the main power coming into the relay fed through this old ABS grommet. So that's gonna be real sleek and clean right there. And you can see from up top here, I've just temporarily bolted that in for entertainment purposes. You can see that none of the wires are really like hanging out or doing any of that stuff. So this wire right here is another alternator wire, but I actually need a new plug for that anyway, because if you see, it doesn't have the little clippy thing that grabs on top of the alternator. So I'm gonna need a new one of these. So what I'm gonna do is whenever I get a new one and get the engine all in, I will cut it wherever it needs to be. So that way it's not super long, and then it'll be in one of these looms. So that way it just looks clean and sleek. And yeah, this is what it's pretty much gonna look like here. So on the other hand, look out here at this mess right here we got. So I have started to tape up the main harnesses coming out of the side of the chassis here, and I'm gonna actually wire tie them up back under here, like with this one and this one. I don't have any 1-inch wire loom, so when I get that in, I'll go ahead and finish that up, and I might do something else with this wire that I was telling you guys about, that the main hot for the fuse box. But down here, I'm gonna have to do some wire tying or some taping to get all this stuff right, but I don't wanna leave out anything that I need. Like I need this plug right here for my headlights. I need these plugs over here for my headlights. But the majority of stuff is gonna be routed underneath here and just follow right up the side of this frame here, so that way I can plug into the headlight stuff right here. It'll be extra discreet and not come through these holes. Like you guys can see on this side, I've actually already done the side, and it's not nearly as extensive because it didn't have nearly as many harnesses. But you can see we just ran it up under here like that, and wire tied some things down under here and ran that harness up under there. That's the airbag harness. We ran it up under there and right against this firewall. I'll probably secure it to the subframe somehow. But yeah, so there's no wires coming through here at all. This is where the ABS used to be. We're gonna have a nice power steering reservoir sitting right here. Not sure which one yet, but the intercooler piping is gonna go through right here, so we don't wanna make it too cluttered. But yeah, I'm gonna cue you guys to whenever we get the wire loom, probably next day, so stay tuned. All right guys, so we have the 3/4 inch and the 1-inch wire loom here in these boxes, so that way we can start getting this wrapped up, getting it looking nice. So I'm gonna actually use these like little wire tie things. Let me show you a little hack. So these pieces right here, these tend to be used a lot by Subaru, and what you can do is, if you can't get the wire tie apart, so these have a little grabber in there that grabs the wire tie so it can't come undone. But if you can't get those apart, what you can do is just cut that wire tie and still use it and just feed a new wire tie through that. So I've done that in a couple places, like I'll show you on this side real quick. Let's see. So right here you can see I just used the factory little push pin there and used my own wire tie. Same thing with this one and this one. Yeah, so that's a good little hack for any of you guys trying to do something like this, so that way you don't have to get every single one undone. So I have one up under there. I'm not sure if you can see that right now, but we're gonna use a wire tie and wire tie this up after we get the wire loom on it, so that way it'll look nice. We're gonna use the factory little holder here for the wiring harness, and then we're gonna do something to hold the wires about right here. So I'll put you guys on a little time lapse. I gotta get these ABS wires taped back so that way they never touch, because one of them is hot all the time. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. This is the 1-inch loom, And I'm not quite done yet, but what I wanted to show you real quick was a little hack when you're using the loom to make it not slide on the wires. So typically you could just tape the wire loom around it and put it on and it'd probably be fine, but that still allows the wire loom to slide up and down on the wires. So what we want to do is we want to start a bead of tape around here, and then as we come around we want to slide this wire loom where it's split right here through the tape, so that way we can tape the wire loom to the wires and the wire loom can't slide up and down on the wires. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'll show you guys real quick on a full speed video rather than time lapse, just so you can get a little bit of an understanding for it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this wire loom. This is actually the one that goes to the engine bay, so I really wanna make this one look really good. So I'll show you guys how to do that real quick. So the first thing I'm gonna do is tape these two wires together, because I'm actually gonna bud the big wire loom around these two little ones, so that way you can't really see where they're connected. So I'm gonna tape this one up just a couple times around here. And you guys have seen me on the time lapses kind of heating this tape. If you have really good electrical tape, you don't really have to do that, but this is just Harbor Freight electrical tape, and I found that it doesn't really like to stick, plus it's pretty cold. So if you give it a little bit of heat, dust a little heat over it, it will stick, and it'll stick good. So now that we have a bead around here, you can see where our electrical tape is coming out. So what we're gonna do is slide this wire loom on here. Just want to get it around probably 3 or 4 inches of the wire. And after we do that, I'll show you guys what I mean. So now that we have it like this, and we have our wire loom right here, we can slide this forward onto there, and you see how our tape is now coming through the wire loom. Now we can continue to tape around the wire loom and give it a couple. And I will dust a little bit of heat on there, but just for right now, you guys can see, look, if I pull this wire loom, it can't move on the wire. So that's really good. We're gonna continue down this one, tape it in a couple places, likely every 3 or 4 inches, kind of like we did on this one. And then we'll put it through for probably the final time, and then I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with all of these here. Probably just put some more loom on them, tape them, do whatever I gotta do. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that done. That's just a little tip I wanted to show you guys while we're here, so stay tuned. All right guys, so this is where we are gonna conclude the video. I'm gonna give you a little update over here on the side here. You can see we got everything routed up in here nicely. I actually used the main hot that's coming into the fuse box that comes off the starter. I put it follows this wire loom, and then up in there you can see it's wire tied, and then I used a little hose holder to wire tie. So up in there you can see I used a little hose holder, and I bolted it to the strut tower right there, and then I used the ABS grommet to feed it right through. So that way the fender liner will still go on there and it'll still fit good. And you can see I used a couple of those things I was telling you guys about that Subaru uses a lot with my wire ties. I used them, and I used them down here as well to hold that stuff up. Now the only other wires that we have are the headlight wires right here, and I ran the main headlight wire down underneath the frame there. So yeah, here's what it kind of looks like from the top. Now this is our alternator wire, and here's our alternator plug. I'm gonna shorten those if I have to, but we'll see. Probably not gonna mess with this one, probably just feed it back into the fender well there. Also painted that piece black. It was like a lime green color. Wanted to make it more discreet. I'm not very happy with the top of this fuse box. I'm probably gonna get another lid or paint this one or do something like that. But here's how it turned out for the main engine harnesses. I hope to maybe tie them down like that and connect them right there, but they look pretty good. And here's how the hot that goes into the fuse box looks. So this obviously might be a little bit too long, but I haven't put a connector on it yet, so I haven't committed to the length of it. So we will redo that and put some shrink sleeve on it whenever we get the car up and running. Yeah, what else? This is the harness that comes out for this side. Now here we have what would typically be our MAF sensor is now tuned for speed density, so I need to route this actually over here through this and then over to this side, because our charge pipe is going to be located about right here somewhere. But I know we got pretty far in this video. If you guys like the wire tuck job that I did, be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button. It's really not that hard. It's just very time consuming. I mean, I probably have a whole day's worth of work in both sides, so it can definitely take a good amount of time. So, and materials, you really need a lot of electrical tape and some wire cutters, various wire ties, and a whole bunch of wire loom in different sizes. So like I said, if you guys like the video, make sure you drop a like, hit the subscribe button. We're gonna be back. We're gonna actually clean the car up soon. So you can see behind here, it's very dirty. And I'm thinking about the Subtle Solutions fender brace here for the unibody. And yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming. So be sure to subscribe. We'll be back for another video soon. Peace.